All right, speaking of which, so as we mentioned, Alabama's expected to be #1, but that's not the only reason Alabama was being talked about. There was this article that ran on CBS Sports this weekend that used an anonymous panel of Division I football coaches voting on overrated and underrated coaches.
That's the best.
And among the interesting things that were said by various coaches, again, in this anonymous panel, involved Nick Saban, something that I imagine would only be said under the protection of anonymity. Here's the quote. If you had the #1 recruiting class in the country every year, you'd win like Nick Saban. He shows up at every single game with a better roster than the team he's playing. If you count cheating and getting the best players in the country as part of running a program, he's the best in the country.
Whoa. Those are two separate quotes, or that's all one quote?
That's all one quote.
So one person said, that's a mouthful.
One person, under the cloak of anonymity, said all of that.
Well, because here's the thing. The beginning, the recruiting class part, well, fine. Then just be better at recruiting. But then you throw the cheat word in there, and that takes a whole different, ooh,
well,
who is this
it's definitely anonymous, and it's probably going to stay as such.
You would
I don't think Nick Saban deserves this.
Why not?
Because the one thing that people underestimate about collegiate sports is, of course, you want to nurture young people. But the toughest part of your job is recruiting. Mm-hmm. People take that part for granted and say, oh, he's getting the best players. That's because he's able to land them. And now all of a sudden, when you see he's had 39 ESPN 100 players on his roster, yes, when he shows up on Saturdays, he's going to have the better football team talent-wise, but he still has to put them in a position to be successful. And I've seen him do a lot of amazing things with Alabama football, but when he took out Jalen Hurts at halftime and put in Tua, and Tua threw a game-winning touchdown to another freshman.
So what is the cheating?
Can I say two things?
Yeah.
#1, if he's out recruiting you, that's his job,
yeah,
okay? The most important thing a college football coach does is recruit players. So he does that better than anybody else.
So that's just jealousy.
That's not a criticism.
Okay.
And 2, if you're going to accuse Nick Saban of cheating under the cloak of anonymity, to whichever coach it is that's saying this, you are a pathetic chicken. That's what you are.
Coward.
You are a pathetic coward. And you are the same person who was challenging your players in practice every single day to be brave, to be there, be on that line. 105 degrees outside. We're going to practice hard today. You're not getting any water. You're not taking a break because that would make you soft. Oh, but under the cloak of anonymity, I'm going to say Nick Saban, the best coach in college football who probably kicks my behind every single season, is out recruiting me because he's cheating. That is pathetic and soft. That's what that is.
Wow.
That is the absolute opposite of what I guarantee you, whatever that college football coach, and
guess who it is.
If you read the story, they're suggesting these are all head coaches.
Who wrote the story?
These are head coaches.
We're going to find out.
It's not who wrote the story. It's from CBS Sports.
Oh, okay.
It's basically like, I forget what the number was. It amounted to like 20% of the head coaches is the way it was presented.
Like 30.
In major college sports.
30.
Like 30 coaches out of 130, whatever it is. So a major college head coach said that. That same coach, I guarantee you today, is preaching accountability to his players in a team meeting leading into their season. They're a joke. That's pathetic.
Well, that's what we call beta behavior. #2, I have a question for you guys, because the recruiting part just sounds, obviously you're very jealous, but I get it. The guy is great at what he does in that realm. Am I supposed to read more into the word cheating? Like, is that to insinuate more than just recruiting? Or is this just all part of the same thing and the word cheat is just going to get
Yeah, that's what it's insinuating. He's insinuating that he's doing illegal. No, that he's I interpret it to mean that he's getting players outside the rules. As we know, lots of coaches do. We have the FBI had to investigate it in college basketball. But Nick Saban, if you think he's cheating and you have some evidence of that, take it to somebody. Don't anonymously say it to a writer at CBS.
Oh, man.
Listen, these anonymous quotes, and this came up in the meeting this morning. If you're blowing the whistle on some dangerous activity and you want to do that anonymously, if you're a football player at Maryland and you believe that the coaching staff or the conditioning coach is engaging in practices that are dangerous and you're worried about that's going to cost you your scholarship and you need to say that anonymously, that's one thing. If you think Nick Saban is cheating because he's out recruiting you and you want to say that anonymously, you're not blowing the whistle on anything. You're not making the world a better place. You're just trying to make a point out there for your own purposes, and you're doing it because you won't put your name on it because you're a chicken. It's pathetic.
And I understand. Say it with your chest, Green Mamba. I understand why.
If I had a chest, I would.
I understand why anonymous sources are relevant.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Because, you know, whether it's sports or politics, we need them to push useful information for the masses. But what I will say in this case, I totally agree with you. He doesn't deserve this behavior, Nick Saban. He doesn't deserve this commentary. And I hope that.
Well, hold up. Why doesn't he deserve it? I mean, what does that mean?
Because you're accusing me of cheating.
Yeah, but he's a grown, like, he's not a victim here. I mean, this is just, if anybody reads this, they're going to just think this just sounds like someone who's extremely jealous. That's part of why when you're at the top of the mountain, everyone's coming after you, then that's fine. I don't think it's going to affect him. If anything, you just poked the bear even more, and he's going to love these quotes, and it's going to make them even that much scarier. So I'm not sure that this will have the end result that this particular anonymous fellow was hoping. I think it's going to go to the exact opposite.
And I agree with you guys. If he's cheating that much, then tell the NCAA.
Yeah.
They're all cheating.
Yeah.
He's cheating.
Just anonymously tell a writer.